Hello, my name is Dr. Paul Simon. I am a psychiatrist in private practice since about 2009. This video, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about different antidepressants, their pros and cons and what they're like, and different options that we have for treating depression. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Who knows, maybe after I get about 1,000 subscribers, I might actually earn about 5 cents. So I appreciate your support and encouragement. So there's a lot of options nowadays for the treatment of depression, but this video I just want to talk about some basic ones. So how is depression treated, first of all? So there are two main tools that we have. Therapy, which consists of changing the way we think and the way we act. So how we think about the world and ourselves, how we interact with it, and what we do on a day-to-day basis. What kind of sleep habits, and do we have exercise or not, or do we like our job, or do we have a bad marriage, what can we do about it? Those kind of things. Now, there is a chemical basis to depression. I see a lot of people who tell me that, I don't know why I'm depressed. I should be happy. Everything in my life is going well. I shouldn't feel this way. Yet they're depressed. That is, feeling down and sad, hopeless, poor energy, not wanting to do anything and not really seeing a point to living. Sometimes even suicidal if it gets that bad. So depression, there is a chemical basis, and that's been documented in different ways through brain scans and even central spinous fluid studies and different things, and functional EEGs and different things. There are changes in the chemistry of our brain when depression occurs. So the medications that we use are aiming at changing some of that chemistry, okay? Different pathways in our brains that do different things are controlled by different chemicals. Some of them you may have heard of, such as serotonin or dopamine. There's other ones like norepinephrine and different things. So these are the main ones that we try to manipulate as psychiatrists. Now, in the brain, they are isolated in that the brain has a very tight control what can go into it and out of it. So you can't take basically a level of serotonin and inject more serotonin in somebody and all of a sudden the levels go up. So if, let's say, you see out there vitamins that say, oh, serotonin supplement, or 5-HTP, which is serotonin. You can't just pop a few serotonin pills and all of a sudden your serotonin levels go up. It's not like taking iron or something, or vitamin D even, where you can take a supplement and, and improve the level of that chemical in your brain. It just doesn't work that way. So how do you adjust those levels in your brain? Well, essentially, you have to trigger a signal to the different neurons in your brain to either produce more serotonin, release more serotonin, or be more sensitive to it. So there's different ways that the medications can work. Now, contrary to popular belief, there's actually a lot of different serotonin receptors, okay? Receptors being where the serotonin triggers or locks on to, before the neuron and after the neuron. So there's a lot of different types of receptors that actually respond to serotonin. Now, some of those are in our brain, some of them are in our gut. So that's potentially why some of the medications can really trigger upset stomach, for instance, because it's triggering the serotonin receptors and stuff in the actual nervous system that controls our gut. Other serotonin receptors are in our vasculature, like our blood vessels. So some of them, the medications can produce erectile dysfunction, which is a vascular issue, or different things like that. Or some of them can cause blood thinning because there is serotonin receptors associated with blood clotting. So some people who take medications that manipulate or raise serotonin levels will actually get some easy bruising and stuff like that. Or they may interfere with some blood clotting or anticoagulants. So if somebody's taking a blood thinner because they had a stroke or a heart attack or something like that, and they take some of these medications, sometimes it can add to that blood thinning effect. And that sometimes is not good, because then your blood doesn't clot even as much as they expect. So that could be a problem. Now, I don't want to get too far into the weeds as far as different risks and side effects and how they work specifically, but there are a lot of options nowadays with antidepressants, and there's new ones coming out all the time. In another video, I talked about S-ketamine and ketamine and psilocybin, and I'll put another video about transcranial magnetic stimulation as well. And there's a video on ECT, electroconvulsive shock therapy, which is a whole other can of worms, in another video. Now, let's say you or somebody you love is depressed and you go to talk to your doctor about it. You don't have to have a psychiatrist, okay, such as myself, a specialist in mental health treatment, to get prescribed an antidepressant. That said, a lot of primary practice physicians or nurse practitioners just aren't comfortable prescribing anything to do with mental health. Now, that reflects poorly on them, in my opinion, because all nurse practitioners and primary practice doctors and all physicians across the board are trained in mental health and the treatment of mental health. Now, some have more experience or depth of training, such as myself, I'm a specialist, than others, but a primary practice doctor or an OB or a pediatrician, one of these general practitioners that cover a lot of different health conditions like diabetes and stuff, should be able to handle comfortably the initial treatment and basic treatment of depression and other mental health issues, especially anxiety and depression. Now, if you get into, the nuances of bipolar or schizophrenia or panic attacks or OCD or something like that, something a little bit more severe, perhaps, or exotic, like phobias or something like that, okay, maybe a specialist would be warranted, but honestly, a primary care doc or a nurse practitioner should be able to handle getting you started on an antidepressant. Now, there's a lot of different options out there, like I said, but still, the mainstay of treatment, first-line treatment for depression, is what we call SSRIs. So, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Okay, so basically they block the reuptake of serotonin from outside the cell, and it's kind of hard to explain that. I don't want to get too far into it, but basically, a nerve will in your brain, brain cells, they're all nerves. They'll release serotonin and then signal to the next nerve to kind of carry on a signal to kind of boost mood and do different things, regulate mood and anxiety and thought. And now, when that serotonin is released, it gets taken back up into the cell that releases it, and it gets recycled. Now, if you block that reuptake, all right, of the serotonin stays between those two neurons, and it keeps stimulating that neuron that it's trying to stimulate. So basically you get more effect of that serotonin that's in there. So, and then it will increase its production, actually send a signal to continue to increase the production of that serotonin. So that's how most of the medications work. Now, other medications like SNRIs, so serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, I conceptualize them as almost releasing the brake on that serotonergic neuron. They start working on that, but they work higher up on that neuron, like farther up, and release the brake off of that serotonergic neuron, essentially. So it's kind of like, instead of directly stimulating more production of serotonin, it kind of releases the production of it. So either way, you're still getting some of that. But it also works on norepinephrine, so you can get some other side effects potentially, like potentially sweating and different things that act in your body based on norepinephrine, which is another transmitter that does different things all over the place. So there's these two main classes, first SSRIs and SNRIs, that are used. Now there's other ones like Wellbutrin or bupropion. There's Trintellix, which is more straight NRI. They just works on norepinephrine. There's other ones out there like mirtazapine, which is Remeron, that can help too. And they work on different ways. Now, the older medications, they worked on other neurotransmitters as well, like a dopamine and stuff like that. And so the more receptors and the more chemicals you're manipulating, the more potential for possible good, but also possible bad. So those older medications that would cover all these different neurotransmitters, we don't use them as much because they're a little bit uncontrollable because they're doing so much. All right, so with the advent of SSRIs in the 80s, like Prozac, that was the first one really to come out, we're more selective, on the serotonin. Now, these kind of medications, they don't work for everybody. So I think the treatment of depression is quite complicated because there are a lot of things that can cause it. Okay, so depression can be caused by physical things, such as low thyroid or low testosterone or vitamin D or iron and all these things. Just situational factors as well. If you lose a limb or somebody you love dies or you lost your job or something, these things can make us feel sad. And if you're sad for long enough and severe enough, it affects your life and you call it depression. So depression is kind of a grab bag of low mood and just not wanting to do things, a lack of pleasure in life. So SSRIs don't work on all these different forms of depression, but if you rule out all these other causes, it works pretty well. So with these SSRIs and the SNRIs, they basically will cure a percentage of people, okay? Cure being getting them back to their baseline, okay? Compared to people that don't take anything or take a placebo, which is a fake pill. So out of, let's say, 100% of people that take, let's say you get prescribed Prozac, or fluoxetine it's called. Good medicine, I use it a lot. About 30% of people, 33 or so percent of people will get a complete resolution of their symptoms on the first try, okay? That's only 33%. Now the second third, okay, 33% will get a partial response to the medication. That means their, depression is relieved, but only partially. So they feel a little better, yeah, some, but gosh, I'm still not feeling 100%, even after taking this medicine full dose for 2 months, I'm just still not there. The other third, they don't get any relief from that initial medication at all. And then what happens then? Well, you try another medication, okay? You just try to switch to another SSRI or to an SNRI. That's kind of how it goes. Now you kind of try to narrow down that group of people that is treatment resistant. So that 1/3 of people that don't respond to medication, that's the tough treatment resistant people, okay? Now, again, at a second trial of medication on that third, okay, a third of people that don't respond, again, you roll that dice again, and 1/3 of the people respond, another third kind of, and the other third not at all. So you keep narrowing down, how many people respond or don't respond to the medication. Now, what happens when you partially respond to the medication? Well, in that case, it's kind of a difficult spot to be in a way because, well, do you augment or you add a medication to it? That's typically done, okay, very commonly done. So you can add something to it that works a little bit differently. Or you can switch to something else and roll the dice again, okay? Now, if somebody's gaining some benefit to that medication, it's hard to convince them to say, well, okay, give that up. We want to roll the dice again. So oftentimes, depending on the situation, you'll add something to it like buspirone, Buspar, or Wellbutrin, which is a totally different antidepressant that you can use with SSRIs and SNRIs, mirtazapine, or sometimes people will end up adding something like a mood stabilizer or something that can help with depression but also stabilize the mood a little bit, such as aripiprazole or Abilify or one of these you see on TV like Vraylar or, you know, there's a whole bunch of them out there, Safras and different things. Lamotrigine is a really good one that's been out for a while and relatively safe. But one of the oldest and not commonly used anymore treatment methods for augmentation is to use a little bit of extra thyroid hormone. So T3, T4, or a combination of the two is used to get more out of your antidepressant. So it doesn't directly affect the antidepressant, it adds to what it's doing really. So it gives you more energy, kind of perks things up a little bit. So, but whenever I try to do that with people, oftentimes the person will see their primary doc and the primary doc will not know what's going on, you know, and say, oh, you don't need to take that, you know, that's a thyroid hormone, your thyroid levels are normal, you know, and then take them off it. So sometimes I run into that problem where the other collaborating physicians are not on the same page or, you know, and don't really understand its use as an antidepressant augmentation strategy, so they'll interfere with the treatment and then backfires. With thyroid hormone, you can get too much of it and have problems with that, but it's not very dangerous at all to take a little extra of it. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Like if, let's say you're on levothyroxine and you have low thyroid and you're a little bit low, say, well, if that's okay with your physician, I think that's okay to do, and maybe take a little extra, even if your thyroid levels are normal. If you're still having some low mood and low energy and stuff, I think it's okay to take a little extra, but that should be guided by a physician, okay? All right, so I haven't even talked about other medications such as the Abilifys and the Vraylars and the Rexultis and stuff like that that are out there nowadays. So a lot of new exotic medications that do a whole lot of different things. I am very slow to adopt new fancy medications because all that glitters is not gold. Anything that is being advertised and pushed and you have drug reps earning a lot of money for getting people to take $1,000 a month medication, I get a little suspicious. So I think years ago, I really realized how much garbage was getting slung by these drug reps when I asked, well, okay, you got this new medication. Have you tried it? You know, can you show me a study where it was tried head-to-head, you know, in a comparison study with Zoloft or Prozac or one of these medications that's been out for a while and has been proven relatively safe and effective? And I was like, no, they haven't done that. Saying, well, okay, let me know when you do have a comparison trial to these old, relatively safe medications, you know, and this, you know. So eventually I got tired of talking to drug reps who are just full of hot air. It's like talking to, no offense to any drug reps out there, but you know, I just don't like working with salespeople because, you know, their job is to manipulate me into buying their product. And, you know, my job is to do what's best for my patients, and it's my name on the script, not the drug reps. I'm responsible for that. So safety first do no harm, and I don't like to experiment on my patients. So with that, I hope you're doing well, and please suggest any additional topics. I'd be happy to share my insights with them. You know, I'm not a scientist per se, you know, I'm not a lecturer at some university. I see people every day trying to help them with their depression and anxiety. So this is really more real world, down to earth kind of information. So I appreciate your patience with me and my rambling. And if you've made it this far, you've got some staying power, or you just forgot to turn off your phone or your YouTube. So you all take care, and catch you next time. Bye-bye.